But to me, the impetus lately on how fast we can move the case is a disservice because if I can take an extra month or two and get them to talking through mediation, through settlement discussions, and let them have more of an active role in building their future and deciding what that future is going to look like, as opposed to us going through trial and people being cross examined and the judge, seeing them at the worst point in their life and putting this into public display. To me, we just create a lot more scar tissue. Now, in a lot of cases, it's unavoidable. One party's going to have a trial. They're going to have to be made a believer that this is going to happen. And you're going to have to pay alimony or you're going to have child support or, they're not going to take a civil way out. But to me, pushing too fast, sometimes you lose that humanity.
You really do. You really do. And you're right. You do need to have time for people to heal some and let cooler minds prevail because cooler minds think better. So it really I agree with you 100%. I think the push to get these done quicker is really a disservice to the families.
I think that, I was having a conversation with another colleague today, and it's not something that I really know of that's in existence. But I was thinking, it's like, how could we balance out need for efficiency and quick closure of a case? And how could we, let some families have additional time? And I thought back to my days of when I did criminal law, and we had something called a demand for speedy trial. And then the state had so much time to bring you to trial and you could, have an opportunity to clear your name within a given period of time. And what I was thinking would be great is if family law had a mechanism like that. If one of the parties thought, hey, this has got to get fast tracked, this has gone on too long, I want this over, I want to have my trial, or maybe it's the party who realizes the other side's never going to come around to good, solid negotiations, that there's a mechanism that they could get out quick and get it to a trial, then, maybe that should be left on the parties more so than the state or someone in the court administration who's just looking at stats. And so I think that might be an answer. And I'm on a few family law committees. It's something that I'm going to try to bring to the forefront. Maybe we could have a balance.
That would be a great idea.
Yeah, some way to trigger it.
That's a really good idea.
Enough's enough. I have to have a trial. This is not working versus I want more time and I don't want to be put into this bucket of efficiency. I want to have a social investigation, which might take a couple of months. I want to test drive a temporary schedule for these kids to see how 50-50 might affect them or how 60-40 timesharing is. And can dad really get them to school? And can mom, get off work early enough to get them from daycare or after school care? And to see how this works. Because a lot of times I think when people start working it and they get a little time, it's not so bad. This is actually working out. Or, and some of those fears go away. And then, why I love my job. I love going to trial. I love cross examining. I don't make a family any better in the future by doing that. When you have to go sit years later at this child's high school graduation, no one feels closer to their ex spouse or because their lawyer cross examined them for 4 hours. You know what I mean? That's just going to create more scar tissue and bad blood. So I think that, sometimes speed comes at the cost of healing. And, it's something I'm going to really try to make a focus on when I go to my next committee meetings is let's focus on healing and not just speed. This is not just simply,
They're not cookie cutters.
yeah, we're dealing with it. And, in family law too, personal injury, I'm not taking away from it. It's they have their challenges, but you're dealing with a car wreck, let's say, and the damages. With us, we're dealing with real estate issues. We're dealing with children's psychology and children's issues. We're dealing with retirement. We're dealing with alimony. We're dealing with lots of issues, domestic violence. And sometimes healing takes time. Healing cannot always be wrapped up in 120 days. And sometimes even when the marriage doesn't, people don't, end the divorce and get back together and reconcile, when I say healing, that they've healed to the point where they can now coexist to some degree post divorce for the sake of their kids and their family. That takes time and that does not fit into an administrative 120-day calendar. And I think it's something that, there's been a big push for at the expense of the families we're trying to help. So, how, as a paralegal, how does your role complement the work of a family law attorney?